Greetings and welcome to episode 17 of Spiritual Practices for Tough Times. And this is our final episode, I guess, of season 1. In many ways, we hope that COVID-19 could clear up and that we can move on from what's happening, and maybe we won't have a season 2, but you never know. If there's a season 2, we'll come back in the fall of 2020 after we've had a wonderful time outside social distancing this summer. So thank you so much for joining in to this last episode. I feel a little nostalgic. It's been wonderful journeying with you through these tough times and being able to use spiritual practice as a way to help us move through it. Early on in the season, we used to show what day it was. It was day 63 that we're on today, and it's so hard to believe how time has gone by so quickly, and at times really slowly. In the Globe and Mail today, it was, as we used to say, the headlines are still COVID-19, why Canada is closing the gap with the U.S. as COVID-19 death rates. And so we're still in the midst of this pandemic, and we're still in the midst of probably some ups and downs and different tough times. Throughout that, I have gone outside in our garden to look at various things, and here's a sort of a compilation video of how things have changed over the last 63 days. And so as we can see, a long time ago, we started out with snow. The tulips were small in our backyard, but over time, things have grown and things have changed. And that's one of the things, if we can open our eyes to life, we'll see this constant flow of sacredness in life, and we can be with those changes and celebrate them. As we see the tulips starting to come out in all their beauty in our front yard. So there's 63 days of growth and change. And I think as we go through this time, and we've been in these 17 different episodes, for me at least what it says is that if we can just approach each day with steadfastness, with openness, and allowing ourselves to move through it, it really shows us that we can get through tough times and that we can do this together. And so for today, we light our candle again as a reminder that this sacred light that's been with us through these 63 days is with us now and flows in our world. And we light this candle for all those who are still in the midst of the deep crisis of COVID-19 and the financial crisis and so many other crises that are coming out of this. And for our planet that's still waiting for us to change so that we can avert climate change. And this candle is also lit with the first responders and the nurses and doctors and all those that are helping those with COVID-19 and the families that are in grief who lost loved ones. And I have my usual jasmine tea, having a cup of tea with you or if you're having coffee or something stronger at home, always is a reminder that we are in this common communion and humanity together as we join together. So how about we have a moment of spiritual practice? The practice that we've been doing at the beginning of all 17 episodes, where we just follow our breath. It's so simple, it makes it sometimes difficult for ourselves. All we do is we allow our consciousness, our monkey mind, and our awareness to focus on our breath. One of the words for God is breathing life. And so as we focus on our breath as a spiritual practice or a prayer, it helps us become attuned to the breathing life that's flowing in all of creation and invites us to wake up to every moment. So I invite you to close your eyes. I'll ring the meditation bell now. It's just a reminder that we're entering this more time of intention to let go and to be present. And you might want to just gently make sure your feet are on the ground, that you're sitting straight and tall in your chair. And as you breathe in, I just invite you to feel your body. Become aware of your body as you breathe in. Really feel your feet connecting to Mother Earth. And allow the top of your head, your crown, to feel that sacred flow to the source of life who's breathing with us and in us and through us and around us and everything in this moment. That there's one unity of life. And we are a part of that flow. We're not separate as our culture and mind wants us to be. But we are this one amazing, marvelous, connected unity of life and energy unfolding in this very moment. And if you have some tension that you begin to feel in your body, maybe in your neck, your shoulders, maybe you clench your jaws, your back of your thighs or your fingers, just allow this tension, you might imagine it, to flow out with your excellent exhale. So as you're breathing in, you let go. You let go of all the thoughts that will be waiting there for you after we're finished. You let go of the worries, the anxieties about what's next. You let go of the past, about wishing you'd done something different or somebody did something else different or they didn't do it. As you breathe in, you just let go into this present moment. As you breathe out, you just accept what is here and now. So I'm going to be quiet here for a second and just allow you to breathe in and to breathe out. Remember, if your mind or your awareness begins to cling to a sensation or a thought or a story or a worry, you just come back to your breath very gently, non-judgmentally, and just breathe again and be here now. Take one more breath. Feel yourself. Feel your body. Feel the flow of life and presence and vitality that's within you and around you. Notice how you breathe that, and over these past 63 days, that maybe there's a bit more quietness. Maybe it's a little bit easier as we practice letting go. being here now. Now gently and slowly open your eyes. And as you look around, do you see and experience a moment of beauty or joy or gratitude? How do you feel in your body now? Is your mind maybe just a bit quieter? And do you feel that underlying sense of calm that pervades every moment no matter what is happening? I hope as you followed along in these episodes, if you have, or if you're just joining in for the first time, that you can see that spiritual practices are about entering into a time of regeneration and holding firmly to the path. And over time, as we just continue to follow a spiritual practice, whatever that is, it might be breathing for 5 minutes every morning where you let go. It might be centering prayer where you have a word that helps you to let go of thinking, or another type of meditative practice, or yoga, or sacred reading, or mindful walking, or any number of things, that it is by the perseverance of sticking to the practice that something begins to regenerate, like the growing of nature, like the bulbs coming up, like the seasons moving through. And as we do that, then what we discover is that we can't focus on the goal, that there is not a finish line, that there is not something that we're going to attain and have a party and celebrate. It's simply allowing our energy to return and to be attuned to an inner voice within us, an inner voice of our deepest wisdom, an inner voice that is one and touches the light within, or the sacred flow of energy, an inner voice that allows us just to be with the present moment no matter what is happening. It's not about a goal. It's not about getting somewhere. It's about being present. And so the goal of all these episodes of spiritual practices for tough times has been to help us just to be with the tough times, with the beauty and joys of the moment, with our worries and our stresses and all these things, because our society has taught us, unfortunately, in my opinion, and maybe one of the opportunities that we can take from these tough times in COVID-19 is, how do we slow down? How do we simply enjoy life? This is what this video from Headspace talks about, is how do we allow our mind just to stop?
When did you last take the time to do nothing? And when I say nothing, I mean nothing. These days we rarely give our minds a chance to rest. And as a result, we often feel stressed, overwhelmed by emotions, lost in thought almost half of our waking hours. And everybody just assumes, well, that's life. But it doesn't have to be this way. Meditation shows us how to train the mind to be comfortable at rest. It takes a little practice. We're so used to busyness, but calm, that's new. But when we cultivate clarity like this, we might find we have space for more contentment, more compassion in our lives. And don't worry, you don't have to listen to recorded whale sounds. In fact, if you've got a few minutes and the Headspace app, you can learn to meditate right now.
So if you have a few minutes right now, or any time in your life, you can learn spiritual practices or to meditate by simply, as we've been doing all these times for the last 63 days, is by simply becoming attuned to your breath and letting go and being present. It is that simple, and it's that easy, and it has such wonderful experience. Not experience that we're going to be on clouds with rainbows and unicorns and all these things, but it brings us into our body, which is the only place we live. It brings us into this time where we find clarity. And the clarity is this, The clarity is that we don't have to be racing around like we've been trained. We don't have to follow the speed of our mind or technology, that we can simply be. We can enjoy our cup of tea. We can enjoy the nature around us or the food we're eating, even when we are filled with uncertainty and worry and angst. We don't know what's going to happen in the world. In a way, COVID-19 has revealed to us that we aren't really in control. Control is an illusion. But beyond that illusion is it that there's this deep inner clarity. If we have the perseverance to let go and allow the flow of life, if you want to call it the flow of God, the presence of Spirit, to help us regenerate in every moment and find this higher wisdom and truth within us and around us and through us and with us and in community with everybody we live. And so part of spiritual practices is teaching us this patience and this perseverance and to be steady and slow and patient. That's what this final Headspace video talks about, as it talks about maybe spiritual practices and meditations are like an elephant.
It might sound strange, but a really useful analogy for meditation practice is an elephant. Often in life we want to get everything done as quickly as possible. But when it comes to learning, that's maybe not the most skillful approach. But if you think about an elephant and the way that it moves, there's something really majestic about it. It's steady, it's slow, but it keeps moving forward. And with meditation, it's about regular, consistent practice, just showing up time and time again. Just like our elephant, it might be walking along a very flat surface, might be walking up a hill or down a hill. It might be passing through a clear open space or a dense sticky jungle. The elephant doesn't really mind. It just focuses on one step and then the next and then the next. If we can bring this quality to our meditation practice, then we don't have to worry about progress or be in a hurry to get anywhere. And we don't have to stop because we've overexerted ourselves. We just keep going with that gentle, steady, consistent effort.
If I give you one piece of instruction or maybe guidelines or an invitation as we head into the summer season, is that find in your life, in your day, just 5 minutes. Maybe it's just when you get up, maybe it's before you go to bed, maybe it's after lunch, at some point, maybe when you get home from work, if you still have that type of work schedule right now, is to spend 5 minutes where you consistently and steadfastly and with deep fidelity do your meditation or spiritual practice. Maybe it's this breathing or some other one, because it's through this consistent steadiness is that where the fruits of spiritual practices help us go through the ups and downs and the twists and turns of our life. And by training ourselves to be steadfast, it builds this resiliency and this attunement and awareness within our very bodies and the way our mind will begin to think, so that when, if I can say it this way, the shit hits the fan, or something unexpected happens, or people do something that we don't like or weren't expecting, or our hopes and dreams don't happen, or the things we expected don't happen, it's that we're not so shaken like a tsunami or an earthquake, but we deal with it much more gently. Or if something amazing comes along, we allow ourselves to totally embrace it and with gratitude experience it and then let it go and not try and recreate and hang on to it. Because all we have is this moment. All we have is life. Our life. Your life. I don't know how you're feeling today, but I hope that you, in this moment with us together as you watch this, are able just to embrace yourself as precious and as fragile, as an entity that has weaknesses and growing edges, and that's okay, as something beautiful in all its imperfect perfection, and that we can grow and learn and change and create a world that has these qualities as we're in these tough times. It's a wonderful gift that we have right now. And so often what happens is we're not awake to this gift, that we're on autopilot, or we're trying to solve life by creating conditions that we think instead of just letting go of that. Reminds me of this story of Mary Jo, who has realized that it is through the simple act of breathing that you can wake up to the gift of life in this green Renaissance video.
I do have an addictive personality, and these days my addiction was Facebook. I loved what it brings to me, I love a connection with people, but I really see the superficiality of it. It's just that it takes me away. It takes me away from living. What I started to see is that I neglect a lot because of Facebook. People, nature, the universe. But actually, it would be a lot more beneficial to me, to my dog, if I went for a walk, or plant something and watch it grow. But if I don't do it, and I'm into this little thing, which is actually very detrimental to me, it's not serving anything. It's not a real thing. It's not a real thing. It can be used, but not abused, like I was abusing. I usually go onto Facebook when I want to escape from real living. There's a lot right here that I need to deal with. Being caught there is taking me away from what I need to do here. There's always challenges, always, and they are hard. Often, I want to run away from it, I want to leave, but I can't, there's no way. I do have a very early memory of being very sad because my mom left when I was very young. Looking at the stars and the moon and feeling, I want to go there, I don't want to be here, because it was so hard. Yeah. We are so caught in this world. We are so conditioned. We get fashioned into something unreal. There is something precious and unique in each one that is valuable. Get real. Take time to be in your situation, even if it's difficult. Getting real, communicating. I knew the key had to be breathing. Whether you are a king or a pauper, you are breathing each other. We are breathing the dogs, we are breathing the plants, they are breathing us. It's the one thing. So through breath, we can communicate, we can unite. Just connect to yourself, that's all. And bring in light, just breathing light. Truly, you will feel so much better.
I agree with her. Truly, you will feel so much better. We can still be alive in these tough times. That's been the hope of myself and our tech team of Jim and Marilyn and all the other people supporting us behind that, is that that we can be alive in tough times, and that we can be real in tough times, that we don't have to escape the difficulties, but it's actually by going into them very gently and with mindfulness and with skillfulness, even when we make mistakes sometimes or we go to bed, really our mind racing and we're upset with somebody or people or situations, and we remember, if I just breathe, I can get through this. Breathing is a spiritual practice that we hope that we can all be a lot realer, that we can be a lot more alive, and that something will come out of this that we do not know, because that is the great mystery of life. Spiritual practices teach us that something emerges out of the great sacrificial gift of letting go of everything that we think should be, and allowing ourselves to be like a seed that falls into the ground, like a bulb that goes into the darkness, and then tulips and narcissus and daffodils and hyacinths, and all beauty comes through it. That is another gift of spiritual practices. How about we go back to one of the early practices that we began to finish our time together today? It's the practice where we imagine that we're going to be sitting on a beach, and as we sit on a beach, if we start to cling to a thought or thought patterns or emotional patterns or something in the past or future or some sensation around us ticks us off, serenity now, like it should be quiet, whatever it is that we imagine that we let go of whatever our awareness wants to cling to, like a little chihuahua on your foot, not letting go, and we imagine it going into the breeze. And we just keep letting go. What happens if we do this persistently as a practice in our life? One day, when we find ourselves in the midst of a real situation where something is happening and we find ourselves wanting to cling on it, we're going to imagine it letting go. And in that situation, we'll find some degree of loving kindness and nonviolence and non-judgmental love leading us through a different way, instead of that times where our mind is swearing at somebody or we're withdrawing or trying to escape from life. So close your eyes. Be comfortable. I'm going to ring the meditation bell a little louder. And just imagine yourself sitting on a beach that maybe you visited to or seen in a picture that just brings you that sense of being present and calm. And imagine the beach underneath you. And you feel the sand or the rocks, and you feel that the power and the presence of the earth holding you. And then you feel the warm sunlight gently upon your face and body. And then you begin to hear the sound of the waves and the nature all around you. And just let that calm your heart. And then you might feel the gentle breeze coming off the lake or the ocean or whatever body of water. It flickers through your hair, gently tickles your face. And then as we sit here on this beach with the sunlight and the wind and nature enveloped in presence, if you find yourself clinging to a thought or a sensation or emotion, don't judge yourself as wrong or making a mistake or not doing right. Just imagine that you let it go into the breeze. And come back to breathing your breath, the breath of life, the breath that's connected with everything around us. So if you once again are thinking about something, just imagine it goes away on the breeze that's flowing past you. And whatever it is goes off into infinity. It's okay right now. And as we continue to do this, maybe you begin to feel this expansive warmth in your chest that starts to radiate out all your body. Maybe you feel this vital presence, this intimacy within you that you can't explain. An underlying sense of calmness, a peace that passes all understanding. Just be here, now, just as you are. Allow yourself to accept this experience. There's nothing you have to do for it. There's nothing you have to prove. There's nothing you have to do or be other than let go. This is the precious gift of our fragile life. It's with us in every moment. So just breathe and let go for a moment. Now gently open your eyes. And as you look around, again, do you have a sense of beauty or joy or gratitude? Does something stand out that you were sleepwalking through before we did this, or that you were unaware of? It might be something really small and fleeting. But this is life. This is what spiritual practices help us do. They help us develop the practice of returning to being open to innocence, to steadfastness in the present moment, the real, which is only here and now and every moment. So thank you once again for letting us into your lives and your home. Thank you for joining. And our deepest blessing is that in these days ahead, that you may continue to allow yourself in these tough times just to be with life and the beauty of life and the precious fragileness of life, and to know that when we let go into being here now, into the real, that something will emerge and will be okay, even if it's death itself, that we are held in the immensity of one breath and one life and one love. So take care and many blessings. Bye-bye from all of us.